Alright guys, welcome back. We're working on volume 2 of my comic here. We're actually coloring page number 5. I can't remember what page this is. Regardless, we've already gotten things started here. So basically what we're going to do is just do a little bit of coloring here on live and hang out for a little bit. Hopefully chat with you guys if you have questions about making your own comic, programs I'm using, anything like that. This is an open forum, but hopefully you guys enjoy this session. Right now we're working on adding some flats. We do have a little bit of shading, as you can see on panel number 1 here, giving our guys here some dramatic lighting. But yeah, let's get going with it. So you're going to notice that I'm adding color, but I'm not affecting our shading layer, and that is intentional. Our shade layer is really there just to do that, just provide shading, not mix with the primary color. So actually we can turn off the shades on panel 1, and you'll see it looks pretty plain, right? That looks pretty naked. Which is fine, because the separate layers do allow us to make adjustments separately as well if we want. So if I decide a color isn't working or anything like that, we can actually just switch it up and not have to redo the entire thing. I don't remember if you guys can see my coloring cursor or not. Hopefully you can. So you can kind of keep track of where I am on the screen. We did use our big dropper tool earlier to fill in areas like this. Now we're just catching the little spots that are not quite filled in. Hopefully everyone's Thursday is going well. I'm up to my neck in too much work, which isn't a bad thing. It's good to be in demand. There's a lot of people looking for artwork and commissions, which is really cool. But I gotta finish this book. So it's the usual juggling act, working on these things. Alright, so I did label these. We do want to be careful about... Wow, dude. How about labeling things wrong? I labeled this one panel 3, it's panel 2. Okay. I'm trying to like mess myself up here. Just little thing, the little things, man, like it really makes a difference having your layers labeled properly, so you don't accidentally do something on the wrong layer and then you have to undo it and do the work again. Yeah, we don't need to waste time on this book, because time's a wasting. So we actually had to go back and adjust the color of this asteroid that they're walking across. So on the previous page, which actually I'll open that for you guys too, since it's a finished page, it's really nice. Double page spread. but I failed to keep the color of this big space rock consistent. So here's our finished previous 2 pages here. And you can see, like, I definitely toned down the color quite a bit. I didn't want it to be too crazy, considering how many colors are on this page by default. But it turned out pretty good. We're using some new effects that we hadn't used in the previous book, including some, how do I put this? Special effects. So like fog, a little bit more blurring. I used almost no blur effect in volume 1 of this comic, but we're using some, not a whole lot, but we're using some. I do like the idea of keeping things looking cell shaded, kind of like more solid color blocks instead of gradual colors. But there is a case to be made for doing both and having that graduated kind of color effect, a softness to it, I guess. And as always, guys, if there's any issue with the stream, if it's, you know, my audio or anything like that, just let me know. We could most likely make adjustments during the stream to fix it, but I can only do that if I know something's wrong. Back here is actually fog. A little bit of erasing here, and then we'll be able to fill it in with the right color. Same with this ice. So this opening sequence very much is me having fun with the fact that this is a sci-fi book. Because why not? So getting to depict these racing robots running across the surface of an asteroid. When I wrote it, I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. And it has been. It's been a fun sequence to work on. We haven't even gotten to the action part of it yet. This is still the setup. So normally when I do pages, I will keep my foreground elements and background elements separate. But because of the number of panels on this page, we're going with basically just keeping it very, very simple and grouping the colors by panel instead. So there's 5 panels on this page, which is my limit. Like I try to set a limit on how many panels I squeeze onto a single page. So we were kind of pushing it with this one. But because of that, we have to kind of change our approach to coloring. Otherwise, I'll end up with like 500 separate layers of color. So he actually has these like neon sign wings on him. They serve no purpose. It's literally advertising for a company. let's just take a look here. I am gonna have to pull up a previous page, just for the sake of grabbing those colors. Try my best to keep things consistent from page to page. And I do have palettes that I work with, but sometimes I do something different in a separate panel. And so there's a rule, but there's also like not a rule, if that makes sense. All right, so panel 4. Yeah, these are all mislabeled now. Hang on. This is panel 3. Flat colors on this one. This is supposed to be easy, this panel, but I guess we'll see. So when I drew it, I knew I wanted like a silhouetted, semi-silhouetted look for these mechs, and I kind of did that. But when you do a lot of dark area on a picture, you do have to give more thought to your color and how much to actually use, because you don't want to undo your own work by doing too much with the color when the panel's dark. If you don't draw with a touchscreen device, I highly recommend getting yourself one. So right now we're working on a Surface Go, and it's pretty much as close as you're going to get to feeling like you're actually working on traditional paper. Like, just the experience of it. It's a lot different, and I definitely mean that in a good way. Working on the tablet where you're not actually like touching the pen to the artwork itself, it does get really tricky to keep track of what you're doing, basically. So there's panel 4. We did change his eyes a little bit. I realized he's in period. He's supposed to have black pupils. Or not black pupils, black, what do you call the white of the eye? Either way, it's black. We don't want to erase, we want to paint. So we're going to paint that color in. Okay. You know what would be fun here? So we've pretty much cleaned up our flats for these first 4 panels. So why don't we do some shading? And so to shade, let's go to panel 4. We're actually going to take away our color. I find that it can be distracting to be able to see it. It's just my personal preference. And I will choose 3 tones of gray. So we'll start with our lightest tone, and start basically just adding it in. Layer here. Set it to multiply. Remember to label it. We're doing ourselves a favor by doing that so we don't get confused later, because it is impossible to remember what layer has what panel on it. So the grayscale is great for a couple of reasons. If it looks good in grayscale, and by good I mean like clear, like it's understandable what you're looking at, how the lighting is working, then it'll look good in color. But we don't have to think about what color to use because we already picked one, and the shading is actually going to work with us here because we set the shading layer for multiply. So basically multiply just makes the colors interact with each other and overlap. I'll show you in a second. So just like that. So it's a really nice, like, simplified approach to getting multiple colors out of one selection of color. And hopefully stream's working good for you guys. We are not wired yet. Our network cable is on the way, but for now we're streaming like a caveman over Wi-Fi. You know, that caveman Wi-Fi. It does seem like, at least for TikTok, it looks like our streaming quality is pretty good. But let's take a look at YouTube real quick. I don't know if you guys, if there's any kind of connection going on with YouTube, or if we're just wasting bandwidth. Let's take a look. Alright, supposedly we're live. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Okay, my only question is about YouTube chat's not really doing anything, so that's why I thought there wasn't a connection. But I may have to okay, so I gotta open the chat before we start streaming. Or, I'm sorry, other way around, after. And we got a suggestion here. I apologize, guys. We're still learning. Oh, my bitrate's higher than they recommend. Interesting. Well, could be worse. Pop out our chat. Minimize that. It's how many windows we can possibly have open at the same time. All right, we're gonna go a little bit broader with this brush. I'm being too selective about our shading, because this is supposed to be a dramatic shot, so we want some dramatic lighting. The best way to do that is to focus on contrast, and light and dark is a great tool to make that happen. It automatically looks so much more like alive once we add our shading. And you can see we're kind of working along with the lines that are already there and just adding some emphasis, I guess. Alright, so that was our first layer of shade. We're going to switch to a darker tone and basically just work inside of the area we just did. So a 3-layer approach to shading is a nice rule to have if you want a little bit more dynamic kind of color once we're ready to convert to color again. So this one isn't a huge difference, but the next one will be noticeable. And then we're not using as much of it. The pen pressure is also a nice tool to get that more faded look. So we're using Clip Studio right now to do this, and we are also the tool is called Dense Watercolor. Yeah, see that Dense Watercolor brush for our color and shading. I really like this tool a lot because of the variation that you get. This makes things feel a little bit more organic. Then if we slap our color back in, we get a look at how that looks results wise. Pretty happy with it. So we're going to use our blend tool here just in a couple spots. Okay, now the other thing we'll do, we're gonna adjust the shading with tonal correction. Sorry, color balance. So this panel is gonna be pushed more towards green. So that's what we're gonna do with his shading as well. You can already see like the difference that's coming through with just doing a couple of adjustments with that. All right, then we'll also Let's use our blend tool a little bit more. We will also adjust his flat colors. So that's crazy. So this got pushed into an almost turquoise with the shading. Let's hit him with a tonal correction as well, and we're going to push him also towards green. So that this all jives together. Then we'll add a new raster layer and we'll label it because we're not stupid. And we will set this for overlay and select his skin tone and just bring it up a little bit lighter. And now we can add some highlights. So doing these on a separate layer is pretty helpful. Again, for the sake of being able to make adjustments. And we don't have to sacrifice any of our shading to do this. We can actually work right on top of it. Switch back to our blend tool, which we really should make smaller. And just soften it up a little bit. Or panel 4 flats, sorry. So easy to get confused about what layer you're working on. Add some light to his eyes and also a little bit of darkness. Love it. Looks great. Here, let's mess it up. He's wearing a helmet. So, yet another layer. So they're starting to pile up. We'll set this one for screen. So screen is interesting because it actually covers over your inks a little bit too. But I think this is an experiment. We're gonna see if this works out okay. But we're basically gonna set this at a lower transparency. We'll say 68%. Increase the size of our brush so we can sweep right across. And that's a little bit too much, but that's okay. This actually has potential. To be a nice effect for glass. I'm being very sloppy with this. Let's see how our blend tool looks on this. I mean, it definitely looks like he's wearing a helmet. I can decide if I want to do this or not. Tough choice. I do think I like it though. So for now, none of these decisions are permanent, but for now, we're going to clean it up and just consider it for a while. We'll think about it. There's some things I like about this, but I also don't at the same time. Oh, that's not bad. So just lowering the opacity a little bit actually kind of makes that look more natural. Like there is glass there, but it's not like crazy looking. All right, so pretty good progress on this page. I think we're gonna take a break here. We'll pause it. We'll come back and hopefully finish this page up. But thank you guys for joining. Thanks for hanging out as we continue to color Volume 2 of D.S.R. If you haven't read Volume 1, that's available on eBay, Etsy, all over the place. It's definitely worth reading. Nice, good chunk of story, 64 pages. Obviously full color. But yeah.